Well, hello and welcome. My name is Velma. You can connect with me at velmanolds.com. This is all about your leadership chat. What does that mean? You get to listen in on valuable insights from valuable leaders just like you. I want to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe so that you never miss another episode. And if this is of value to you, please share the nuggets that you're going to take away from all these great leaders. Hey, please give a big welcome to my special guest and your valuable leader, Reid Radtke. Hey, Reid, welcome to your leadership chat.
Velma, so nice to for the invite and allowing me to come on and speak with you today. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's been a while, but then the last time we connected, it was like we've been talking forever because we just picked up where we left off. So
that's great when you establish a relationship. You know it's long term when you can go 3 or 4 years without talking to somebody, and then boom, within 15 minutes, everything is like right back to where it was. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, so I am so honored to have you on today. I can't thank you enough. And for everybody that's listening in, I'd love for you to kick us off and tell them a little bit about you and what you do now, because you're in, you have a number of different careers throughout your life, but tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
So I have been very versatile in my career, and it's funny. At first, I thought, "Wow, this is crazy." But the more people I've talked to in different industries, the more people have been really surprised and impressed with my resume in the back. So I've been in the airline industry. I went into Homeland Security. Then I went into nuclear, new construction. Then I went into regular construction. I've owned a consulting firm, and I'm also an adjunct professor at a major university here in South Carolina.
Right.
And so what I'm doing now is I'm director of operations to change the culture of a general contractor firm that I work with, which is MIMS Contracting here in Columbia, South Carolina. And it's a family-owned business. It's great, a very grounded organization. And we do commercial construction in Florida, in South Carolina, and North Carolina. So it's very rewarding. It's a different pace, and but it allows me to go out. When I say change the culture, it allows me to go out and exercise and teach our subcontractors, our individuals, our clients, even our own employees, just different perspectives on what it means to have a relationship, a long-term relationship with potential clients, bidders, and it changes the whole culture of your organization, and it's enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, you're a student of leadership, and we know leadership is relationships, and it sounds like that's what you're instilling there, just the culture of being a leader that values and builds relationships. And I mean, you're a great one to do it, because look at us. I mean, I don't know how long ago we met, just one day, in Orlando at a conference. We kind of clicked, and then we hadn't touched base for a while. And then when we did, it was like we had been talking forever. So you definitely got this relationship leadership button down.
Yeah, I just find it so important. It really is.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Okay, so, I wrote the book, The Valuable Leader, a few years ago, 2018. And I truly believe that a valuable leader is someone that makes an impact in your life, that you would say, without this person in my life, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. And I'd love for you to share with us, who's a valuable leader in your life, and why would you say that about them?
How much time do we have?
I know. And you're going to say, how many people can I list?
Well, there's a bunch of people, but I can zero it down to one easily. And this man, let me just take you back a little bit. It was shortly after September 11th. And there was a new Homeland Security was formed and all of this. And there was a couple of years that they were having some jockeying around as to, the building up the agency in each state. And I received a phone call one evening to recruit me down to South Carolina from New York. And the conversation was late at night, so that was unusual. And then the other part of the conversation was there was no detail specifically. I'm a detailed person there were no details and no assurances that I was going to get the job. But
Okay.
the offer was to come on down. And the comment that was made to me was, well, sometimes you just have to make a leap of faith. I was like, what? But Velma, my wife and I and family, we made that jump down to South Carolina. And that man, his name was Gerald Chapman.
Hmm.
He was the federal security director for the Columbia area airport. And some of the things that I learned with him about the specific details, relationships, responsibility,
Yeah.
respect,
Wow.
just it changed my life. He was a faith-driven man.
Yeah.
I was a little novice in that area, but the practical applications that he associated with his everyday leadership
Hmm.
was something that I had always desired. And I watched this man, and he's a good friend of mine today. We still chat here and there.
Yeah.
He's since retired, but the time that I spent with him, he was probably laid down the largest foundation for not only relationships,
Right.
but character and how to live your life.
Hmm. Okay.
And it
Wow.
was very important. I mean, just tremendously important that it changed my life. I completely did a 180 and became more of a direct with my leadership, more with my values. How to value people was very important, and he really showed how to do that.
Yeah. Well, you hit on 3 R's there. I don't know if you picked up on it, but you talked about, the fact that he was very focused on relationships and the value of relationships. You also said responsibility, right? Because you have to be first responsible for yourself, and
Exactly.
then, responsible for those that, you are, you have responsibility for. And then, of course, you said respect. And so you hit on 3 R's. I don't know if you meant to do that or not, but that to me was a drop the mic moment.
Well, he made a difference in my life, and those are some of the aspects that I really took from him, and
Right.
and it's I would say that to surround him in that triple R would probably be a good way to do that
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Gerald.
Yeah. Well, you came up with it. I was just, taking it back and reflecting. There goes another R, but I was reflecting and I'm like, you hit on three really powerful, words that are attributes of a leader that has helped transform you into giving you a different perspective and adding so much value to you so you could add value to others. So, wow, powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very powerful. And a leap of faith. You took a leap
Yeah.
of faith and you dragged your family with you. Come on, let's do this together.
I did. It was, you talk about fear.
Yeah,
That was something that the unknown,
right.
and it really was a leap of faith. We went to a completely different state. We didn't know anybody. We didn't have a house. We hadn't sold our house.
Wow.
Really didn't know the group of people that I was going to be working with. I didn't know who the stakeholders were. I didn't really
Right.
know the conditions. It was a complete blind faith.
Wow. Very cool. And look at you. You're still in South Carolina
I
today.
am.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so since then. We have a great example. I know there's others you could talk about. We have a great example of who's a valuable leader and how it helped you to become the person you are today, the leader you are. So we always talk about how do you pay things forward? Once and someone's done it for you, there's a stage in life where we go from this focus of success on self to significance on others. And so, how
Mhm.
would you say you impact others to help them to see their value, to become more valuable leaders? How did you do that? How do you pay it forward?
Well, that's such a great question, and it gets on your heart. Like, how can I help people? What is my passion? What do I want to do? What am I driven to
Right,
really do?
right.
We want to make a living. We want to, take care of our family, but there's
Mhm.
always that passion in the back. Like, what do I really want to do?
Right.
And it's it's funny how it came about, but somebody had asked me, hey, you're a pretty good speaker. What would you think about doing a keynote speech? And I thought about it and I said, well, I'll do that. And of course, I didn't prepare or anything up until the final days that it was coming forth. And my wife kind of nudged me. She says, Reid, what are you going to talk about? And I said, Well, I don't know. But you know, what I had to do is I had to actually go run so I could reflect on some of the things that
Right.
I thought were necessary. So Velma, I did this, fast forward, I did this, this keynote speech and I talked about how to recover from failure.
Right.
And, you know, I did that. And in that audience was the dean of the college of the University of South Carolina. And we talked for about 4 months and he convinced me that I would be a great, business leader in the school. So fast forward again, and now I've been in my 5th year as an adjunct professor at USC,
Right.
and I am teaching strategic management to the college students that are they're basically seniors,
Right.
they're upperclassmen that are about to take that big step from graduation
Right.
into the corporate industry
Mm.
of a career mode. And what I've learned is that, you know, I've there's a reason why I was so versatile in my career, not for me.
Right.
But if you really believe in faith and you're
Yeah.
faith driven, there's
Yeah.
a reason why things happen in your life.
Yeah.
And when I look back on that and I reflect, I said, you know, this didn't happen for me. There's something back I have to give. And that's education, it's experience, it's knowledge of what I've learned.
Yeah.
That'll help these students as they graduate and step into that fear factor of
Right.
what am I going to do when I get there? How am I going to be able to relate? So what I try to do is I teach the experiences, the knowledge
Yeah.
that I have had in the corporate environment, as well as teaching, you know, the textbook items, and I make
Right.
those practical matters applications associated with our discussions, our lectures associated with, you know, what is strategic management? How does it relate to your life? What is your personal goals in life? And so
Right.
I poke them to try to really get them to change their perspective on what is this going to look like when I take that, you know, after graduation. And I enjoy it because it allows me, you know, to give back to some of these students that some of them are right on, but a lot of them, I wouldn't say they're lost, but they're afraid of what's that unknown. It's
Yeah.
probably the
No.
best thing. It's just that unknown. What am I going to
Right.
do?
Yeah, no, that is so powerful. And you know, you're so right in that helping the emerging leaders, the next generation, but you're taking it to a step of saying, you know, sometimes the best teacher is experience, but it's proven experience, right? And you
Mhm.
know, do you apply what someone else has learned so that you can, you know, grow and develop? And that's what you're doing. You're giving them the textbook knowledge, but you're also mixing that with real life experiences. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think that's a huge benefit to any university, any educational institute, to be able to take people that have the experience, leaders that have under the belt years of experience, and mix it with textbook experience, you know, and knowledge that's scientific and proven research, bringing them two together. You got a sweet spot there.
Yeah, it's just to elaborate on that. Somebody told me a long time ago that how do you really get people interested in what you have to say?
Mhm.
It's stories,
Yes.
stories about scenarios. And
Right.
Velma, I'm telling you, when I'm teaching, you know, the textbook items, I can quickly turn the page and say, "Let me tell you what that's like, or what occurred in there," and I'll tell a brief story.
Right.
And it's fascinating. They might not raise their hands, they might not do this, but I usually get a few students up after class, or some that'll send me a note or an email just saying how much that they really enjoyed that,
Mhm.
how they enjoyed the class, and you really gain their attention just by stories. They start to listen. They can make it more practical to them in their own lives.
Yeah. Well, and you know, stories really tug at the heart more than the head. And you
Yeah,
know, people move on emotion, right? And so you're moving
absolutely.
them to take a different way of thinking, a different way of doing and behaving, just through the fact that their emotions are getting attached to a true story. I mean, this is real life that you're sharing with them. So that's powerful and great addition to it. I'm glad you brought up the story, you know, the power of stories.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah, no, we could sit back and let me tell you a story. Um, you know, So, but before we go, because I know before we go on to the next question, I know the answer to this, but I want the audience to know that in the big speech you gave, right? You know, you got called to do this speech, and your wife is like 3 days into it. Okay, you got 3 days. Reid, what are you going to talk about? Well, I don't know, but it's going to be good. So, how many people were in that audience, and who were they?
They, well, that was scary because I thought it was only going to be a small crowd.
Right.
And so I was very reluctant to put something together, but I found out after that there was about 5,000. They were business leaders, international professionals, executives. There were university folks.
Yeah.
It was a business forum, and I the big mistake I didn't do is I didn't ask who the clients and the clientele would be,
Right.
or the audience, and
Right.
that was a big mistake. But in the long run, that time that I had to run and reflect on what I was going to talk, it was the perfect thing because it was at an even level
Yeah.
and very balanced that it talked to everybody.
Well, it got you a job. I mean, your future boss was sitting in the audience and saying, "We need to get you at our university," and and you've come full circle there. So we just never know the opportunities and that's going to be in front of us, and having that clarity. And I'm sure that you told your stories of failure, which everyone can relate to, because there's no one that's not experienced failure. And if you haven't experienced failure yet, just wait, right? Because we're all, if you're learning and growing, you're going to experience it, but you're not a failure. Failure is
Right.
an event, and you learn from that and you move forward.
I don't like going through them, but they certainly are lessons learned, and they build you up, and they create so much character from them.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. There's several things in life that are big events that I can think of personally. And I say, it was not something that I wanted to go through or would want to go through again. But now that I look back on it, I'm glad I did go through it because it made me a better person. It made me who I am today. And so you're so right. Those types of challenges and obstacles that we have to face and overcome, and sometimes fail when we're trying to overcome it, help us to be stronger and have more courage and be a better person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so we never know who's going to listen to this podcast, when they're going to listen to it, what season of life, where they're going to be. And I would love for us to give you an opportunity to just think about what would be one big takeaway that you would say, if I could share anything with listeners today or 10 years from now, this is something that I really want people to hear. And it's a way that will help them, become more valuable in their own lives, to be that valuable leader that they're born to be. What's your one big takeaway?
And that I thought about this for a little bit, and I'm going to say that, when you really look down at it, how can we provide value to others? And like you said earlier, everybody is going to experience failure.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen to all of us, regardless of how good you are at athletics, how smart you are, whether you're the president of the United States, if you're in the media. Everyone makes mistakes. Everybody has failure. Right. My one takeaway on that, Velma, would probably be: don't let failure stop you for your goals and your dreams. And it's so important to realize that, because fear can grip you, it can stop you and limit you to see, it can block you, it can blind you from all of those dreams that you've had. But the best thing to do is to reflect on that failure, understand why it happened, knowing that, say, why me? Well, why not you? Because when you think about why not you, this is an opportunity for you to help and provide value to others. And that's really, I'm going to get a little faithful here, a little scripture, but that's the real reason why we're here. We're here to help each other.
Yes.
Relationships are so important, and we sometimes overlook those. And yes, we go through these difficult things. Failure is difficult, but what I would say to people is, don't let that grip you. Use that, what you've learned, reach out to others to help them through those things. And you know what's going to happen in turn when you say these things out loud? You're going to you're going to build strength within you and realize just how much that's going to encourage you to move forward. And before you know it, you turn around and a new door is open. You meet new people, new opportunities all of a sudden come open. And you have to be an optimist sometimes when you think about those things, because you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. But you've got to get away from that letting that fear grip you and stopping you in your tracks.
Right. No, and we talked about fear the last time we were having a chat, right? We were talking about fear and the saying false evidence appearing real. We talked about that. And I shared with you one of the things that one of my students at the university that I teach at was, forget everything and run. So it was forget everything and run. And I'm like, no, that's not what we're going to do with fear. But it's just a little bit of humor there. But you're absolutely right. I always say that you don't have courage. You find courage when you face your fear, because, in fear is when you get, courage, and through other people encouraging you, providing that, lending, borrowing the courage to do things, to move forward. And folks have done it for me. It's
like you said, you don't have courage, you gain it. And a lot of times it's from things that we think we could never do.
Exactly.
I watched my wife go through some real struggles with the medical issues, and the strength that she had within was so alarming and uplifting that she helped so many other people outside. They still talk to her to this day about it.
Right.
So we don't know how we're going to benefit others.
Right. Yeah,
really
exactly
don't.
Right. We don't know why we go through certain experiences, but, we know that, our experience is there. The experiences we go through help other people. And so being that person that's willing to add value to others' lives, to share the things that we struggled with or the things that we've been able to overcome, so that you could pass hope on, right? You can give them hope and encouragement. That's beautiful. Thank you for that. That's face the fear, right? Don't let it grip you and hold you back. What a great takeaway. Because you're made for more. I believe we're just made for immeasurably more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Reid, how could, listeners learn about you or connect with you or follow you, or, kind of stay in touch to know things that are going on with you? What would be a great way if you would share anything there?
Well, there's a number of networks. Probably the best one, though, that it tends to be more on associated with the professional side is probably my LinkedIn account.
Okay.
I do post a lot of positive reinforcement there from time to time. I have a lot of contacts. I do post some of my videos that I've done with instructions on LinkedIn. I reach out on LinkedIn and say, give me a little description. Hey, I saw you on Leadership Chat with Velma, and that will give me an indication of who they are.
Okay.
So I'll accept them. I don't want to.
Exactly, because they're not going to know how to get a hold of you till they get to this part of the segment. So they'll know a little bit about Reid and reaching out. But I've had several valuable leaders say that on the show. They say, if you say you heard me on Velma's Your Leadership Chat, then I'll know that that I should accept your invite and build a relationship from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely. We'll put in the link, your LinkedIn profile, so everyone will be able to get it when they get to this part of the show. And I can't thank you enough. Hey, thanks so much for watching another episode of Your Leadership Chat. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button here and tap that bell icon so that you never miss another episode. I hope too that you'll give us a thumbs up on the video for a like. And then if you feel led, please share the video with those who need to see it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Your Leadership Chat. Bye for now.